So sings my soul. Praise my God of love and life. So sings my soul. The joy.
My subject this morning is vision for your empowering life. And I want to start out with the fact that vision is how the universe comes into focus for you. Vision is how the universe comes into focus for you. I mean, here we are in this wide world. What are we supposed to do? We come and we have a parent, and if we're lucky, and they hang around until we are older so we can keep coming back when we're 50 years old and telling them that they need to give us more stuff. No, I don't believe in that. I think we need to get freer sooner. But the idea is we are related first to our parents, and then to our friends, and then to our school, and so on. But really what life is teaching us is that we're related to everything. The far-flung galaxies of the universe has a direct relationship to who we are. Every atom, every particle in the universe is intelligent. And that intelligence is what puts us in a place where today we have the freedom to think about what we want to do with our lives and do it. And this freedom doesn't come in a way where we can just do it without any kind of obstacles in our way. There are obstacles. And part of the obstacles come from the fact that in this connection, some of us say the connection is only to here. In other words, we become tribal. We become tribal. And in becoming tribal, we think every other tribe is threatening to us. And we have to protect ourselves. And we have to assert ourselves. And we have to make sure that we have more power than other people. So some of that comes into play. And if you're spiritually aware, I should say, one day you're awakened to the fact that we're all connected. It's all one. It's God's life working in and through all of us all the time. And at some point, we realize and recognize we have the freedom to make life what we want it to be. Life is what you make it. And is that true? Well, Proverbs seem to think it's true. It says, without vision, the people perish. But think about that. It's kind of giving you the negative form. It's like a parent telling you, don't go talk to that person next door. And they don't explain why. But they're trying to protect you. But you can't be protected all your life. You have to figure out what's on the other side of a saying. It says, without vision, the people perish. It also means that with vision, the people flourish. With vision, the people flourish. And that means you. That means me. That means all of us. And so we must understand that vision is an empowering force in the universe. It gives us our lives focus. It tells us that this is what I'm about, because there's no book that your life comes with that says, okay, here's your manual, and this is what you're going to do. No, God says, here's your freedom. And go ahead and discover who you are and become the best that you can be. And so when people say, well, God has a purpose for you, God doesn't have a purpose for you. You have to have the purpose for yourself. God is giving you the freedom. If God has a purpose for you, then God has worked it all out. And nothing that you can do can change anything. And we know that can't be true because there are some terrible people in the world. And if God is the one who made them terrible from the start, and knowing that they're going to be terrible, allow that to happen, then it's God's fault. And I can't believe that. God can't be all good, and you believe that. So God gives us this freedom to be. And this freedom is what we need to take through this life. Making decisions based on the fact that there is a law, or there are laws working with me, so I can find my way despite the fact that things may not look that way. I'm going to tell you about one person. You see this building here? It's a masterpiece building of Paul Revere Williams, Paul Williams. Paul Williams was the first black architect west of the Mississippi. And he was a great architect and hardly got the notoriety that he deserved. You see that pretty little building at the airport? He had something to do with that. And Paul has built many, many buildings, including, Cheryl, the building I live in. And like you, it just is something that happened to us, but that's aside. But I want you to know that it didn't begin that well. This man, born in 1894, grew up here in Los Angeles. At the age of 4, both his parents died of TB. Paul is a black kid, and he got adopted, I believe, by a white foster mother. And Paul is going to a school where it's all white, and he's the only black kid there. And Paul has this exquisite ability to draw, artistic, to the nth degree. And what's her name? Mrs. Clarkson, she saw this gift in this boy, and she encouraged it. And one day, she had a friend that was in building, and Paul went with him and discovered architecture. And Paul knew at a very young age he wanted to be an architect. Come on, a black kid wants to be an architect? It's not done. The two things don't come together. Being black and being an architect do not come together, not in the same person. But the blessing is that he had somebody like Mrs. Clarkson as a foster mother to moving him forward. And so what's happening now is Paul has developed a vision, an impossible dream. No, you don't go there. Why don't you go there? Well, I'll tell you why. When he went to a high school, a polytechnic high school, the guidance counselor asked him, what is it you want to do? And Paul announced that, I want to be an architect. Paul says that he stared at me as if I told him I was going to make a rocket to get to Mars, with that incredulous look. You can imagine this little black boy wants to be an architect? Come on! What do you think? Well, the truth of the issue is, Paul went on to study, and he felt empowered, and he went to a local studio, and there it was a New York-based Brew Arts, and they taught design. And so here he is, learning design of architecture, and having the feeling that you cannot practice this. And why can't he practice it? It was told to him by one of the teachers that your people cannot afford this particular skill. And so you're going to have to depend on my people to come to you to get a job. Now, I want you to put yourself in this place where you have a dream. You have a sense of a vision of your life, but it is the impossible dream. This is the human journey. This is not unique just to Paul, even though it turns into a kind of a tribal or racist kind of thing. It is the same dream that you have for your life, regardless of whether it turns into something racist or it turns into something that I don't have the wherewithal to get there, but this is what I would want to do with my life. When you see the story in the Bible, it's called going to the promised land. That's what it looks like in the Bible, where Abraham is being told by God that you must leave your father's house and go to a land that I will show you. Abraham has no idea of where this land is, but he has a vision. He has a dream. And because he's empowered by this vision, because he has adopted this vision as part of who he is, transformation has taken place within him. And he's going on that journey regardless. And similarly, we find that this is true of this man we call Paul Williams. And so in one ear, the angel on one side is telling him that you're getting a feel of European design for architecture. And in the other ear, a little devil is telling him that your own people can't afford you, and white clients won't hire you. So what I'm saying to you is there's always the conflict that happens when you have a dream, when you have a vision. There's a conflict of, do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute, there's time for vision and revision, which a minute will reverse, as T.S. Eliot would say. So what I'm saying to you is there is doubt and there's faith. There's doubt and there's faith. There's not just one, they're both. And you have to come to a place where you're so absorbed by that vision, you so believe in that vision, that you're not going to allow even the facts. And it was a fact that this man was stating. It wasn't a truth. It wasn't a truth in the sense that it cannot be changed. It's a fact that this is how people behave in this time, and that Paul believed that could be changed. As a matter of fact, before he became licensed, he started to dress like the part. He would press his clothes in the morning, he would shape his mustache in the morning, and he would look like an architect even when he was a mere draftsman. And he would then look for places where he could get experience, and he would apply even if he doesn't get paid. And he learned landscaping that way. And then finally, one of his old friends in the Polytechnic High School looked him up for a design. And he got a design to do that made him $90,000. That's a lot of money back then. Just prior to that time, he got a little job with a Pasadena firm, and he entered a design competition, designing Pasadena City Hall, and he won the design and got $400. He then went to USC to study architectural engineering. And that is when he came out and got this job from his friend. It was in Flint Ridge Hills. And in that area, there was actually on the books that black people could not come into this area at night. That's, he could go take a look at his building and so on. But he didn't let it stop him. What he did is that he used the money he earned and he set up on the Los Angeles Stock Exchange building a sign that says Paul Williams and Associates. He set up his own company. So here are 7 things that Paul realized, 7 principles that you can use. He says, without having the wish to show them. So you're not just pushing against anybody. Don't spend your time pushing against people who are opposed to you. I developed a fierce desire to show myself. You see that? I am doing this to show myself worthy. I wanted to vindicate every ability I had. So he knows within himself that I'm talented. I'm a genius inside, as you all are. You are the greatest genius for the life that you want to live that there can be. You are. And you have to accept that. It's not a matter of comparing you with somebody else. Nobody else is living your life. You are the best person to live your life. And you're best equipped to do it if you can believe it. Paul says, I wanted to acquire new abilities. So always looking out to grow. Growth must be the way you go about this thing. And then he says, I wanted to prove that I, as an individual, deserve a place in the world. Ernest Holmes, who gave us the science of mind, said that we are individualized center of the one mind of God. That's a really interesting thing, that whoever you are, God is individualized in you as yourself. It doesn't mean that I am God, although some people will take it that way. I am God. But I am one with God. I am one with God. And to the extent that I am one with God, it means that I have a potential within myself that is greater than any problem that I can face right now. So we see that the legacy of Paul Williams is that he has created over 3,000 buildings. Over 3,000. This man that couldn't get a job. Here's what was interesting. When people heard about his building or saw his building, they didn't know he was not white. And so, being a white client, and believe me, this is not a racial thing. I want you guys to know we can face up to the fact that people live like that, and some people still live like that. So he gets a white client, and he comes into the office. And Paul knows two things, that if you're white, you're not going to want to shake the hands of a black man. So he always stood with his hands back of him. And what he has is a desk where he's sitting facing the client. Why? Because the client may not want to sit by him. The other thing that he learned is how to draw upside down, sketch upside down. So the client often comes in and suddenly realizes, oh, he's a black architect. And so he's looking for an excuse to leave, is really how the story goes. And Paul would say, in a very easy way, he says, you know, you're here already. Why don't you just kind of talk to me about what kind of building you were thinking about? And while he gets caught up in talking about the building, Paul would be sketching the building upside down, right side up to the person. And by the time the person was ready to leave Paul's presence, the same man who designed this building, the building was designed and he was looking at it and he was not going to leave it. And people like Frank Sinatra, people like all the stars, Lucille Ball, sooner or later, Paul, was designing homes for all these people. Did they care then that he was black? No. But Paul never really got respected for the work that he did even though he was part of the AIA, the Institute of Architects. I was a member of the Institute of Architects once because I was an architect before I came into the ministry. But what I want you to know is that Paul managed to go beyond because he was empowered by his vision. And he never allowed the fact that there was prejudice to get in the way of him finding a way to get the work done. Danny Thomas, who has that wonderful hospital for kids, the first hospital that he designed, that he got, was designed by Paul Williams for free. I don't know if you have any idea of how complex a hospital design is, but it's a very complex thing. It's more complex now than when I was in the business, but it is extremely complex to have designs where you have to design all these various rooms for various functions. But Paul did it for free. He and Danny Thomas became like that. And so what I'm saying to you is you have this building and then you have my building. But you have many buildings in Los Angeles by this great architect. And it was only recent that the Institute of Architects posthumously awarding him the gold medal for architecture. Gold medal means you are just the best that you can be. That's what it is. So, my friends, in 1923, he became a member of the American Institute of Architects. In 1939, he was awarded the merit for design of the MCA building in Los Angeles. In 1941, Lincoln University, Missouri Honorary Doctorates of Science. In 1951, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Inc. was awarded the Man of the Year. And in 1952, Howard University Honorary Doctor of Architecture. In 1955, the NAACP Springer Medal for Outstanding Contributions as an architect and member of the African American community. And it goes on until he got, that gold medal. So what I'm saying to you, my friends, Cary Grant, Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz, Barbara Sandwick, Tyrone Power, these were the people who came to him to build their houses. This is the house that you're sitting in here. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, knew him. And he designed this place for Dr. Holmes. And I think it's important for you. You are the inheritor of this place. And right now, to be quite frank with you, with a few people here, we're struggling to keep it alive. And that's one of the reasons we're going to have this meeting, with Dan, because we need to realize what we have here and not to allow it to simply just go into the wind and disappear forever from the world in terms of religious science, of science of mind, because we are the ones who built it. You see this mural up here, all these things, they're marvelous things. This is a piece of art. If you watch KCT, you will see there's a whole filming of Paul Williams's work. They're still now interested, and USC is more interested these days. Pat Gentry upstairs there in the booth is talking with USC about some things they want to come and talk to us about. But we together need to sit down and think about how we want to keep not just the building, but our philosophy here going. I know it's challenging. We live in an area where it's mostly Spanish-speaking and Korean-speaking people and less English-speaking people around here than when the church was first made. But we have to find a way, and we can find a way. This is our journey. This is our journey. This is our vision. And without vision, the people perish. But with vision, you, all the people, will flourish. God bless you all. Thank you. This is our sharing time, and this is where you get to help your church to be here and to flourish and thrive, and yourself. And Father, Mother God, how wonderful it is to feel challenged in this life, to feel that we have a vision to live for and to live through. We have a focal point that gives us the power to create miracles ourselves. And so knowing that, we come to recognize the law of circulation, that as we give, so do we receive. So right now we bless the gift and we bless the giver. And we dedicate the gift to the truth that set us free. And so it is. You may be seated, everyone. Thank you, ushers. Bless you for your work. I'm feeling good. I hope you're feeling good. Yeah, I mean, don't come to Founders and say, well, I'm feeling bad. No. Come here and say, hey, I'm ready for life. And when you're ready for life, it means you're going to go out there and make a difference. So, those of you who can chat with us a little bit about the possibility of what we can do, not Hornaday Hall, but what is it? Armor Lounge is the room right over here. But you can go downstairs, get some coffee, and come back up. And in about 15 minutes, they'll start talking about this. So it doesn't matter if you're here the first day. You have as much right to come in and talk as anybody else. As long as it's not a membership meeting, you're certainly invited to come. So, and all of you who are here visiting today for the first time, stand again. Let me see all. All our visitors, first time or just, yeah. Love you all. Know you're welcome here, and I hope you enjoy the service, and please come back. You're highly blessed and loved. You may be seated. Okay, we're going to pray now and get ourselves ready for the conclusion of the service. And so let us turn within, feeling the deep silence within. Where in peace the Spirit of God resides. Resides in the way that Jesus described it as the kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of all possibilities for your life is already within you. And knowing this is the truth, let us this day recognize that the decision we make about our vision is what will generate the support of all the laws of the universe for us to not only take our journey, but to live in the consciousness of the promised land. It's not a land, it's a consciousness. It's just the way Paul Williams lived. Despite what seemed to be the obstacles, we know, as Jesus taught symbolically, that if you look at the mountain and say, be removed from here and fall into the sea, and do not doubt it shall be done. Symbolically, he's not talking about mountains out there. He's talking about the mountain that we feel standing before us, blocking our ways with doubt and negation. Let us come to a new understanding of ourselves. That it's our doubt that prevents us from being all that we can be. It's not the conditions. We can rise above the condition. And so let us affirm now that there is a power in the universe greater than we are, that we are using in this moment. And we are rising high above the rough terrain of I can't do to the wide sky of I am living in a place of infinite possibilities, and I'm accepting my vision as not only being possible, but being actualized as I stay here right now and accept. So I'm blessing everyone here for health. I'm blessing you for wealth. I'm blessing you for right relationships. I'm blessing our world for peace, for love. I'm blessing all our peoples to recognize that there is only one race. It's a human race with many facets of colors. And there is only one life in the universe. It's God's life manifesting as everything else. And knowing that this is true, I say, thank you, Father, Mother, God. And together let us affirm, and so it is. Please stand for the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace, the peace that passes all understanding, and so it is.